It is 8 o'clock and we are here live. And I am so happy to be here with you all and to be sharing this information. This is something that is very personal to me and something that is, well, it changed my life because I know that if you're here, you might be having some of the same, like similar story that I had a few years ago. So, welcome. Welcome, Warrior, to Building an Unshakable Foundation with me, Heidi Morton. And I'm so honored that you're here with me and that you're sharing your time with me and that you're just here. Like, I'm just so excited to talk to you about our topic tonight because it is very personal to me. And yeah, we'll just get into it. So, your journey really starts here. I don't know what other diets you've done or what other exercise plans you've done that have not worked for you. Hey, listen, I was there too. I I did HCG like I don't know, 4 or 5 different times. Lost a bunch of weight. I never got to my ideal weight, but I lost a bunch of weight and then I went right back to the same patterns that I had before and I gained it all back plus some. And then I went on a keto diet and then I went on I did like a couple other diets. I can't remember the names of them. But anyway, over the years, I just kept going on these yo-yo diets and I would lose some pounds and then I would gain it back. And then it was like this continuous cycle, right? So I didn't really actually truly understand what was happening and what was going on with me until I went through cancer treatment. But we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. What I want you to remember is that this is a journey of energetic remembering. Okay. It's not about learning something new or shaming yourself or anything like that. This is for you to remember who you are and to connect with yourself to the core. So, all right, let's, just bear with me, guys. This is my very first live, and I'm a little nervous, if you can't tell. And although, you could have everything all prepared and all ready, sometimes you just got to go with the flow. So, I want you guys, like I said, to remember who you are before you get into any of those like destructive thoughts that, oh, I know we all go there. And I used to be that girl that felt stuck and lost and like I wasn't enough. And I had this disconnect from who I wanted to be and who I thought I was. I didn't realize that the person that I wanted to be was already inside of me, but I was unconsciously creating a reality that I didn't like based on my subconscious programming. So I want to ask you, feel free to put it in the chat. Have you ever felt like you were not enough and you felt stuck and alone and like you just couldn't move forward? And it doesn't matter what you do, you just keep staying in that place and then you feel defeated. Well, hey, I've been there. I was her. I was that girl. And then one day I went from looking at myself in the mirror and hating what I saw to deciding that I needed to remember who I was, and I needed to fight for me, and I needed to fight for my heart and fight for who I already was and who I really wanted to embody. See, I went through cancer treatment. That's me on the left before. I weighed 240 and I was a size 20. And I hated myself. And like I said, I went on these yo-yo diets thinking that that's, if I got thin, then I was going to create self-love, right? No, you have to create the self-love so that you can take and propel that through to be able to actually release the weight. So at first I looked in the mirror, that sick girl going through cancer treatment that was told she was going to die. And I hated her. And I was mad at her. And I didn't even want to look in the mirror. One day, I talked to my dad on the phone because I was so afraid that I was going to die and I was going to leave this earth and leave my children motherless. And I said, Dad, the doctor has given me some really terrible news and the cancer is spreading and and my dad said, wait. I don't want to hear anymore. Stop. And I was like, what? First, I was really mad because I'm like, you're my dad. Like, you're supposed to listen. And my dad's like, I don't want to hear those stories. He said, Heidi, is that your story? And my dad had taught me my whole entire life that we choose our reality and that our thoughts become things. And he said, what is your reality? Because I know it's not death. And I know that it's not all these other things that you're saying. He said, what is your reality? And at that time, I was like, I can't accept my reality. Like, I was like, well, I know what I want. And my dad was like, okay, well, let's start there. And what I wanted is I wanted to be thin. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be a survivor. I wanted to live to see another day. And so my dad said, write all those things down. And so I did. He told me to go and start envisioning myself as that warrior woman, as her every single day. So what I did is I envisioned her every single day, this warrior woman that I wanted to become. Now, at the time, I wasn't physically capable of going to the gym. I struggled with food. Like, the only thing my stomach wanted to eat was potatoes. So I just, I was like, I'm not going to even think about releasing weight. I'm not going to even think about, all I'm thinking about is healing my body from this cancer. And so I visualized this girl over and over and over again. And then when I was done with cancer treatment, you would think that that would be enough, right? I did all that visualization, but I was kind of in a broken state. And so I needed a little bit more than the visualization. And we're going to kind of get into that because our minds are supercomputers and they are so amazing. We can program our brains with like literally anything because our brains don't know the difference between visualization and like reality. Did you guys know that? Like, it's really cool how our brains work. There's this story about a runner, and I wish I remembered his name, but I don't. But he ran the mile in 4 minutes. And before he had done it ran that mile in 4 minutes, nobody had ever done it before. So he decided that he was going to get up every day and he was going to start visualizing himself running that mile and finishing at 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And so he visualized that every day, and every day he practiced and he was running and he just kept running and practicing. So he practiced with his body and he practiced with his mind until finally he broke that record and he was able to run the mile in under 4 minutes. And man, I wish I knew his name, but that's okay. You can look him up. I'm sure it's somewhere. The internet knows, right? So if you keep telling your brain over and over again that you're fat, that you are not capable, all of those thoughts over and over, your brain is going to start to believe it. And then it's going to lower your vibration. And then what's going to happen? Oh, well, you're not going to want to do anything but sit on the couch and maybe ice cream because you feel like crap. Because you've been talking to yourself like crap all day. So basically, our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings create our behaviors and our behaviors reinforce our thoughts. So if we start visualizing ourselves, right, as a warrior person, and we start doing the things to embody that warrior person, then we become her. It's really super cool. And that is my biggest secret. Now I'm going to share other secrets with you guys. Everybody thinks that it's about diet and exercise. And yeah, we are going to talk about diet and exercise. But if you saw some days what I eat, then you would be like, how are you still thin? Oh, maybe because it's what I do on a consistency and it's what I tell myself. I tell myself that I am a warrior and I'm strong and that I'm healthy and then I'm thin. Okay, so why do we get stuck? Well, when we're trying to change, we're not fighting a lack of willpower. We are actually fighting our brain's basic programming. Like our brain has 3 primary states. The first is the survival state, and it's the brainstem, and it's the one that kind of helps us, like, if there was a bear running after me, then that brain would kick in and I would run really fast to get away from that bear. But it also does some other things that it shouldn't do. Like it wants to keep us safe when, maybe we shouldn't be safe. Like when we're changing a new habit, it's like, let's see. Well, when you're changing a new belief about yourself, or you're trying to upgrade your life and change one habit to another, sometimes your brain will freak out and be like, this is not familiar. I don't know what to do here. Let's go back to our same back pattern where I feel safe and where I feel comfortable. So that is our survival brain. Our emotional state is controlled by our limbic brain. And that is where it's basically where I feel like I train myself. It's where we're consciously programming we can program our supercomputer with either those negative thoughts or positive thoughts. So now I've kind of gotten to the point where if a negative thought comes up, I recognize it, and then I'm like, nope, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. And then I change it completely. But that took practice. I didn't start out coming out of the gate doing that. That took practice and me understanding how our brain works and knowing that, okay, if I am in an emotional state and I'm feeling like scared or unsure or, any of those emotions that I'm not wanting to feel, I know that I can flip it really fast by saying that I'm safe and that I'm loved and that I'm, all the positive things. Okay. So when we have both of those brains, like working, like our emotional state and our survival state, and we're like working on both of those together, then we get into the prefrontal cortex, and that's when we can actually make lasting change. Hopefully all of that made sense, because the thing is because our brains are supercomputers, we can literally program them with anything. Like I wrote a song when I was going through chemo, and I'm going to share it with you all here. And, I wrote it, and because I wanted a way to train my brain that I was certain things and not other things that I used to believe about myself. So now I'm to the point where like I said, if something negative pops into my head, I can easily squash it because I've listened to so much positive things about myself, and I've told myself so many positive things. I've reinforced it. So how are we going to bring all of this together so that you can get your two brains working? Well, you've got to anchor in your why, okay? You've got to have a strong why, because if you do not have a strong foundation, that is your why, you will never succeed. And I promise you, you will not. Because what are you going to do when you have a bad day and shit is hitting the fan and your emotions are going all crazy? And for me, my vice is chips, okay? So I'm just going to use chips. Maybe for y'all, it's cookies. My husband is cookies. Some people, it's ice cream. Mine is chips. So, like today, all hell was breaking loose because I wanted to release this. And then right before I got on, I was like just about ready to spiral. And I'm like, oh, I want some chips. But then I was like, no, I don't need chips. I'm going on this live. I'm good. I'm okay. I have a strong why for not eating a whole giant bag of chips. I want to be healthy. I want to be strong. And not only because I've built this big relationship with my body, I can feel instantly if I eat a bag of chips, I'm going to be sick and I'm going to want to throw up. So that used to not be the case when I was that girl that was 240. I ate a whole bag of chips, no problem. And I felt great about it. I was like, oh yeah, that was fine. And then, the pounds added, whatever. I was an emotional eater. So, and I'm going to be honest, even though I'm here teaching this information to you, it's still something that I still struggle with, and something that I have to tell my brain on a constant basis that I'm the boss, and I have to anchor into that why. So that is why I'm telling you, you need a strong why. So what is my why? I'm going to tell you. Um, Mine is pretty strong because I almost died and I had cancer. And that's pretty strange. You would think it was a pretty strong why. But I know somebody that was in my neighborhood, and him and I were diagnosed at the same time with the same type of cancer. And we were given the same death dates. He met his. So, and I even went over and talked to him and told him what I was doing and everything. And so I'm just gonna tell you guys, anchor in that why. And I don't know what your why is, but if you're here on this live, guess what you get? You get coaching with me, and I will help you discover your why if you don't know it, and help you build an unstoppable, strong why for releasing weight. Because the thing is yes, you do have to kind of, pay attention to some of the stuff you eat. We'll get into it, but not as crazy as you think. And on those days that you're struggling, like I said, you need to anchor in that why, because we are training our brain, who is boss. You are the boss. Your brain, your body, your stomach, they're not the boss. Your soul, your heart, that's who's the boss. Okay. All right. So hopefully you got that. You need to figure out a strong why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to be thin? Why? For me, I will tell you what, I go hiking now on a regular basis and I love it. And I don't feel tired and I don't get worn out, when before I was having a hard time breathing and all sorts of things. Like every time I find a new why, I add it to a notebook, and we'll talk about that as we go on. But yeah, let's go to the next slide. I was getting on kind of a little rant. So once we create our why, we can actually start doing what we can start creating our superhero us. So at the top, that one is me as a fairy, and the other one's me as a warrior. I just thought those were kind of fun. AI created them. But when I was sitting there, oh, I didn't tell you guys, I forgot. After I had gone through chemo, so I had visualized my warrior, right? After I went through chemo and I was cleared to exercise and do all of the things and to everything, I still was not ready. For some reason, the visualization was not enough. Like I still needed that to anchor in that strong why, right? For creating that superhero me. And my strength wasn't that, like, now I weightlift, but before I started out with walking 30 minutes a day. I just started walking. And then so walking and visualization. And while I was walking, I would visualize myself as strong, as fit, as all of the things. I like the word fit better than thin because, yeah, fit. So I would visualize all of those things as I was walking, and whenever I would eat, and whenever I would just tie my visualization to habits. And we'll again talk more about that. So who is your superhero you? You could take and you could go on AI, or I could do it for you, and you could make like a little superhero you if you wanted, and you can look at it and visualize yourself as that person. So me, I just visualized it in my mind, but nowadays we have cool things like this where we could make stuff and we can visualize it, because visualization and verbalization plus action is how we get to victory. So I want you guys to be able to visualize yourself as healthy. Visualize yourself the way that you want to be. And then we got to work on our inner dialogue. So the song I wrote, that's going to be a big part of this journey, is listening to that song on a daily basis, so that, and creating your own songs, or listening to your own, like, you can say affirmations. You can, for me, affirmations, I used to do them for a long time. And I just think music gets in your head better because it's something I can sing along to. Sorry, I need a little water. I'm just being me. Affirmations are great. And if you want to use them, that's great. For me, standing in front of the mirror and saying the affirmations, I was like, okay, this is good, but I want to dance. And I think when we move our bodies and when we sing and we use our voices, it gets in our head more because it's anchoring in with our body and our voice. And sometimes I'll dance and I'll put a little essential oil on. And then when I smell that essential oil, then it's like that scent anchors me right back into that feeling that I wanted to feel, with the positivity. And then I'm like, oh, and then I just feel so good. And then it just reminds me all of that. So we are going to really work on rewiring our brains with visualization and verbalization. Okay, so I think I skipped that. Yeah, because words create my reality. And you are strong, and you are powerful, and you are healthy, and you are loved, and you are enough. You are already enough. And you can do this. And you are capable. I promise. I promise. So another thing that I had to do, is I had to heal my relationship with myself when I had gone through chemotherapy, because like I told you, I didn't love myself. I hated myself. I was mad. So I did this thing that's called Ho'oponopono. I'm going to jack it up. It's okay. I probably already did. But I would look in the mirror, because at first all I saw was a girl that had pale skin. She looked sick. She was overweight. She was bald. She was, all of those things, right? All of those things I didn't want to see. So then I started seeing the fairy me with the pretty color hair and muscular and all of those things. I started visualizing her in the mirror, and I would say this. I would say the Ho'oponopono. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I really, really love you. Over and over, I would look myself in the eyes and I would say it over and over again, because I wasn't at the point after I went through before. Okay, let's back up. Before I went to through cancer treatment, I was in the process of looking in the mirror and building that relationship with myself and saying affirmations daily in the mirror. However, when I got diagnosed, I kind of went in a spiral and I was mad at myself, right? And so then I just didn't want to say anything in the mirror anymore. And I wasn't even able to say like the things that I wanted to say, like I'm confident and, I'm fit and whatever. So I just had to start with that. And it was easy for me because, well, one, I could easily memorize it and I could look in the eyes and I didn't have to think of things that I didn't believe were true at the time. So, one of the things that I really want to encourage you on this journey is to build that relationship with yourself again and forgiving yourself for the past, because we're not our past. We're not that past anymore. That was in the past. You know, I love the movie in Lion King. Let's see. Rafiki, he hits Simba over the head, and he goes, that's in the past. It doesn't matter. And I love that. You are not who you were before. Today, you decide who you are. You decide the warrior that you want to be and who you want to be embody. You become her today. You decide today is your day to rise from the ashes and to say, you know what? I am strong. I am powerful. I am capable. And dang it, I'm awesome. I deserve to take back my life. Because you know what? When you get healthy, you take back years from your life. You roll back the clock of time. And I know there's people in this world, I've met them, and it breaks my heart that say, I don't want to roll back the clock of time, because then that means I won't die as soon as I want to. And it's like, what? This life is amazing. All of the people you get to share it with, the people that you love, the relationships that you foster, and of course, you can swing on swings. I love swinging on swings, guys. It's fun. You could do that too. So it is time. Today is the day. And your mission, I want to encourage you, please build that relationship with your soul. Please say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I really, really love you. Because that is building safety with you and your vessel, this vessel that you were given. All right. The next thing, your mission, if you choose to accept it for this week, is I want you to get really, really honest with yourself. Okay. It is time to get honest. Because if you're anything like me, I used to lie to myself. I used to lie to myself that, oh yeah, I didn't eat that whole bag of chips, or it's okay. I just ate 2,000 calories in one sitting. Or, oh, it's okay if I don't go on a walk today, or I don't know. I can't think of all the other lies right now for some reason, because I've worked so hard on my brain that the only time that I have those negative thoughts arise is in times of frustration. So I want you to get really honest with yourself, okay? Honest with your body and what you're putting in your body and what you're eating. I'm not asking you to track it in the regular sense, like get out a food tracker and put all those calories in there and all of that, because that's not something I'd want to do. So why would I make you? What I want you to do is get out your phone, and every time you eat or drink something, take a picture. This coming week, until we meet again next week, I want you to just photograph all your food, just everything. Remember, every time you eat, take a photo of your food. And if you do not remember to take a photo of your food, that's okay. Forgive yourself, and then just jot it down in your phone or on a notebook or something, roughly what you had. Because next week, we're going to talk more about that. It's about getting radically honest. Because the thing is yes, it is about how much food we're putting in our body versus how much energy we're spending, how much we're burning, right? It is about that. But the thing is when you're building a relationship with your head and your mind and your body, you, how do I say this? Okay, so I'm at the point now where I just intuitively eat. I know what my body wants and I know what my body needs. And I can eat something and I don't have to worry about the scale going up. I don't count calories. I don't, I don't, I say I don't watch what I eat, but it's all about portion. I control my portions. And then, of course, I make a majority of my food sometimes is protein and then vegetables and then carbs. But, some days I just do whatever. Like today, you know what I ate? I had potatoes with cheese on them and enchilada sauce in a corn tortilla for lunch. I call them potato tacos. And then for dinner, I had French onion soup with sourdough bread. So it's not like those things are like low calorie, right? I just wanted those. So I was like, oh, I'll just eat them. Now, this morning I did have a protein shake for breakfast, but that's because I was in a hurry. But the thing is, like I said, I had all that normal high calorie food, but because I know my body so well that I know the portions of food that my body can handle and I eat to about 80 to 90% full and don't get myself all the way full because I don't feel well. But again, those are things we can talk about. This week, I just want you guys to focus on getting honest with yourself. What are you putting in your body? What are you doing? And I also want you to, when you're taking your photos and writing your stuff down, do not look at it with judging eyes, okay? Look at it as just evidence. We're creating evidence. The thing is the whole time throughout this program, we are being investigators of ourselves and we're collecting evidence for getting to know us better. That is what you are doing. And I want you to remember this truth, okay? You are not a failure. You are a person who is learning how to be the master of your own story. And you're setting your soul free. And you're not all of those old beliefs. And you're not all those old things. Remember, like Rafiki, he bonks Simba on the head. The past doesn't matter. It doesn't. What matters is what you do stepping forward from today. Now, thank you so much for being here today. You were ready. And I'm going to see you next week. And for those of you that were on the live, then I will be doing some personal coaching with you. I will be texting you and we'll be getting together this week. And yeah, I just cannot wait to see the warrior that you create. Okay, bye.